is Marlene Brissenden. Before I begin, I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday and to you and your families. But it's been a year and a half for my husband and I that we have been vocally opponents of this dump. And I've learned a lot, and I've learned a lot about myself. And I've realized that things really are black and white, if you think about it that way. And I was looking through my newspapers because I've been saving them since this all began. And in November 13th through the 15th in 2007, on the Humboldt Sun, in an article, it talked about how at the October 23rd meeting of the Winnemucca City Council, a letter written and presented by City Attorney Kent Maher noted that a proposal made to Humboldt County Commission and the Humboldt County Landfill Committee by a private entity dispose of out-of-state area solids at a proposed disposal site in western Humboldt County was proceeding. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but I am going to go on to tell you how he also, Maher said in his letter, that the private entity desires to have assurance that solid waste coming from outside the area will be accepted. Now, I don't know if you guys realize, but this was November, and their CUP was issued in April of '07. So we're talking 6 months later. Kent Maher is now stating that there is no authority to dispose of out-of-district waste at the landfill except upon approval by the City Council and County Commission. In order to allow disposal at site other than the landfill, the current ordinances governing solid waste disposal must be amended to specifically authorize such disposal. So at that point, Kent Maher said, well, let's amend that ordinance. And he has, and he did. And that ordinance was still in play at this April 2010 time when you guys declined. Now, I don't know, I hope you did, but I don't know if you understand what was part of the conditions in that ordinance. It said permission to deposit solid waste from outside the district may at the discretion of the landfill board and city council be revoked for non-compliance. You guys did it. You denied them due to their non-compliance. And you're afraid that we're not going to win in court? And you're afraid that we're afraid to take it to court? I mean,
Could I interrupt?
wait.
I'm not saying.
Go for it, man.
But due to some other things in the case, we're going to lose property. It's not what you're stating there. I agree with you. I think we did the right thing there. But there's other deals in this thing other than what you're stating.
So what are these other stipulations?
Well,
There's
something
just,
you have to talk about.
but you guys just need to understand that we are behind you. And we are not dumb. We know it could cost some money. I don't believe we would go bankrupt. But if we get these guys here, we will, because people will be gone. Yeah, they will be gone.
But we're afraid that if we don't succeed, they're still going to be here.
Well, you know what? We're not thinking.
Then what are you going to do?
We're not thinking about that.
Get here.
Because
That's my whole thing, right? I just need to know that the folks in this county understand what
we did.
you know,
We
not-
do, and
But
we-
see, that wasn't, when you did the initiative and when that was all out there was nothing out there that explained the cost. And that's my concern.
fault is that?
This thing is gonna cost, well, you guys put out the initiative, the NAG group put out the initiative.
Nag Group did not
Or
put out the initiative, but-
Whoever put out the, I mean, the group, I get them all confused, so I don't know who put it out, but that initiative was done. There was nothing in there that said cost. And that was probably one of the first things the federal judge brought up was cost. And it's not going to be cheap. And as long as, see, nobody's explaining it. I have talked to people that said, well, I didn't know that. I mean, and several people. And they're against the land.
Well, that's because a lot of the people have not been informed from you guys. And that's what we need. And unless people go and get on their internet or do what they need to do, which a lot of people are complacent.
Commissioner,
We couldn't inform the people.
I'm going to interrupt. This woman has worked her heart and soul
No,
on this
no
thing.
question.
Let her speak.
Yeah, no, we're talking back and forth. What I'm what we're talking about is the cost of the thing that was not put out there. And so that's all I'm saying, is I'm not afraid to fight it.
What cost?
The cost of this entire lawsuit, what it could,
Then tell us what the question is.
We want to know what these stipulations are.
see, and that's probably something that we should consider, is letting the folks of the county know what the cost is going to be. What's the absolute cost going to be? I think that we would be remiss if we didn't. Now, the commissioners couldn't put out any information because we're under a lawsuit. I would love to have put out the information. I would love to get an analysis. And maybe that's where we need to go with this thing, is some sort of an analysis that let these folks know exactly where we stand.
And let you know.
Exactly, because we know that there's some questions that are not answered here, and I would love to have the answers to it. And one of them is the cost of this thing. And if it bankrupts this county, I'm not for it.
Now, there's another little discrepancy that I read in here about how the CUP was issued in April of 2007, and then the ordinance was changed 6 months later. How do you explain that?
So what you're saying, and I know where you're going with this, but what you're saying is there cannot be CUP before an ordinance. Is that right?
I don't know how it was issued.
You can't issue a CUP if you don't have an ordinance that allows you.
That allows you to do it.
That's what you're saying, right?
So what do you guys say?
Well, I know where you were going with that and everything. I just want you to make it clear with exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. I just want you to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Rod Starr. Couple of questions on this settlement. First of all, why is the new CUP for 4 years instead of 2 years? Why do they get more time? 5 years, actually. Why do they get more time the second time around when they couldn't get it done the first time? Because they couldn't do it the first time? Well, we have 5 years more of this, and there surely is a divergence in the people of this county because of this issue. There's no question about it. In part number 2, they amended the waste, the sludge and the asbestos, because it was in the NDEP. Was it in the original permit from in the original CUP? Because I didn't see it there. It may have been. I didn't see it there. And number 3, according to my personal research, when we talk about liners, this is industry information. It says the average liner blows out in 10 to 12 years. So why are we only going to make them pay the fee to make sure that liner is good for 5 years? That's like insuring a new car. Pretty easy. Not much goes wrong in your new car for the first 5 years. It's years 6 through 10, 6 through 12. So with just those 3 things in mind, I don't know how you guys can vote on this and say that this is the law of the land. This might be the first step, but I don't believe this is the beginning and the end at all. And just in closing, at the Stoll House, my trash cans are more than 15 feet away from my swimming pool.
Record, my name is Richard Cook. Commissioners, do not cave in to ecology. Do what you are elected to do. Represent the vast majority of your constituents and reject this settlement. As I see it, the settlement agreement has nothing to do with the reasons you voted not to allow the RBC's 5-year CUP extension. I was at that meeting, and it was simply a matter of Attorney Bob Villan having made his case. Recology was negligent in fulfilling the terms of the original 3-year CUP, failing to even apply for required state permits until 1 and 2 years into the permit period. I am confident that no court of the land will find fault with that decision made by 5 duly elected officials. However, if we allow fear of courts or lawsuits to interfere in the legitimate affairs of county government, we are well on our way to plutocracy. The proposed settlement agreement is simply throwing the dog a bone. It changes nothing. Nothing in that agreement is going to make up for the missing 60 feet of earth between the bottom of that landfill and the water table that's required by Nevada Administrative Code. The agreement does not even mention a comprehensive environmental impact statement, EIS. In this age of one environmental disaster after another, no project of this magnitude and duration should ever be considered without a rigorous EIS. Yet Recology has point blank refused an EIS because they already know that their site is not appropriate for the proposed activity. They don't care about us or our progeny or our environment. They only care about enriching themselves. Do the right thing as elected officials. Do the right thing as Americans. And do the right thing as men. Stand up against Recology's threats and bullying. Reject the settlement agreement and go to court. Thank you.
Not true. I heard that there's a ship out in the ocean that has Hawaii garbage on it, and they have made a contract with California, and they're going to pay California to dump it into the jungle dump. Is this true?
I have no idea.
Yes. So we not only will be getting California garbage, we will be getting Hawaiian garbage too. And how many other states will start
I
that?
don't know if there's any truth to it, but there's nothing that says not going to be. At this point, there is nothing that says we won't get it. I don't know if there's any truth to that.